Evidence 3, male and female reproductive system. This is the male reproductive system. Organs, function, and structure.
Penis. Penis is the main organ for sexual intercourse and works as a conduct for sperm and urine. The testes produce sex hormones and testosterone. The scrotum helps to regulate the temperature of the testicles by keeping them closer or further from the body. The epidermis matures and stores the sperms. The bulbourethral gland, they add fluids to semen during the process of ejaculation. Prostate gland produces the fluid that nourishes and transports sperm. And the seminal vesicle produces seminal fluid which feeds the sperm and allows them to swim.
Sperm path.
When sperm is produced in the test, they mature within the epidermis. They leave the epidermis and enter the vas deferens, where they are stored. These vas deferens pass to the abdominal cavity, where they curve around the urinary bladder and end in the ejaculatory ducts. These ducts connect to the urethra.
Organs that contribute to production of seminal fluid.
Seminical vesicles. These are found at the base of the bladder. Each one has a duct that joins a vas deferens. The prostate gland is a unique round-shaped gland that surrounds the upper part of the urethra below the urinary bladder. Bulbourethral glands. These are small organs that are found below the prostate on the sides of the urethra.
Hypothalamus and the pituitary gland. Hormone regulation.
The hypothalamus controls the functions of the testicles as it secretes a hormone called gonadotropin-releasing hormone. This stimulates the anterior pituitary gland to control the testicles. Gonadotropin hormones are follicle-stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. FSH promotes sperm production and the smear of tubules, and LH promotes testosterone production. All of these hormones are controlled by negative feedback mechanisms, which help keep sperm and testosterone production within normal limits.
This is the female reproductive system. Implantation and fertilization.
Oocytes develop the maturity in a follicle. These follicles are found in the outside layer of the ovaries. Only one oocyte will become a mature egg every cycle. Oocytes are transported through the oviduct ampulla. Implantation and fertilization take place in a fallopian tube.
Components of the female external genitalia. Vulva.
The labia majora, these are two large folds of skins that are covered with hair, extending from the mound of the pubis, which is a fatty prominence on the pubic bones covered with pubic hair. The labia minora, these are two small folds that are inside of the labia majora, and they extend from the opening of the vagina to surround the glands of the clitoris, forming the foreskin. We have the glans clitoris, which is a seed of skin known as the clitoral hood. It contains erectile tissue that it fills with blood during the sexual stimulation. And finally, we have the cleft with the openings of the urethra and the vagina.
Female hormonal regulation. The ovarian cycle. The first day of the cycle is the first day of period, and the day of the follicular phase begins. In this phase, the follicle develops from the early to the pre-ovulatory phase, passing through the preantral and antral phases. The early follicles are made up immature oocytes that have yet to finish the conformation of the ovum. The follicle stimulating hormone, or FSH, increases slightly in the first half of this phase, stimulating several early follicles. Of these early follicles, one is the one fated to ovulate. The selected prima follicle will grow and develop, passing to its preantral phase and also the antral phase. In the antral follicle phase, there is an accumulation of fluid within the follicle, which serves for the nutrition of the cells and which can be observed by ultrasound since it reaches a size about 20 millimeters. The follicle cells produce estrogens, principally 17-beta estradiol, which will peak as many days before ovulation. After this estrogen peak, one of luteinizing hormone, LH6 and FSH, is produced. Ovulatory phase. During the ovulatory phase, the follicle grows fastly and follicular rupture happens with the exit of the oocyte that has finished the first division of meiosis. The second division happens only if it's fertilized by a sperm. The oocyte is attracted by the fallopian tubes and transported inside them to the uterus. Luteal phase. The oocyte is expelled. A series of changes happen in the follicle both from the morphological and endocrine point of view. The cells that remain in the follicle change and form the corpus luteum or corpus luteum, which will last for about 14 days in the absence of pregnancy. Progesterone and estrogens are produced there. Progesterone is responsible for the increase in temperature in the luteal phase. If fertilization has occurred, the HCG maintains the corpus luteum until the photoplacental unit is able to support itself endocrinologically. If fertilization has not occurred approximately 14 days after ovulation, menstruation occurs due to the decrease in progesterone and estrogen levels, and a new cycle begins. How the ovarian cycle influences the uterine cycle. The ovarian and uterine cycles are coordinated. Hormones are secreted by the ovary at different phases of the cycle detector changes in the uterine filling. At the beginning of the cycles, the levels of estrogen and progesterone are too low to maintain the uterine filling, and monthlies begins. About a week into the ovarian cycle, the developing follicle increases its stashing of estrogen, and estrogen situations in the body begin to rise. This hormone triggers the cells of the uterine filling to proliferate, and the filling becomes thicker. Just before ovulation, the level of estrogen in the body has reached its peak. Subsequently, the follicle cells remaining in the ovary develop into the corpus luteum, a structure that releases estrogen and progesterone. The hormones maintain the uterine lining at peak consistence and preparedness for embryo implantation.
Birth control methods. The best ones that we can use is the implant, the youth, 3 types of youth, and the sterilization for men or women. The chances of getting pregnant with these methods are less than 1 in 100 women. The ones that are regularly are the pill, the patch, the ring, or the shot. And the chances of getting pregnant is in 6 to 9 women in 100 women, depending on the method. And the worst ones are the diaphragm and the condoms. And the chance of getting pregnant are 12 to 24 in 100 women, depending on the method.
This is the end of the presentation.